Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
I would recommend Angel Care to anybody. They have really helped me regain my strength.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
I couldn't have survived this without Angels Care.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our producer, Jeff DeRall. We're in the offices of Fort Hays State President Dr. Mirta Martin as we talk about the new academic year at Fort Hays State University. But before we get to the present and the future, let's go back a little bit. You've settled in now. Some reflections maybe on your first year, briefly, Dr. Martin?
It's been a wonderful year. You know, it's been everything that I expected, that I had hoped for, and even more. As you know, and I talk about it all the time, I came here to Fort Hays State University not looking for a university, but rather looking for home, looking for a family. And I have found that home, and I have found that family. And you know, what was really rewarding was the fact that that vision of family and that vision of home is no longer mine. And that's the true test of a vision. It's now embraced by people around. We welcome our incoming freshmen last week, as you know. And the t-shirts that our staff were wearing said, "Welcome home."
Oh, wow.
You know, and I had nothing to do with that. That was a surprise. And it was such a welcome surprise. And as the staff and the faculty who came out to welcome the parents and the guests and the returning students and certainly the new freshmen, they were walking along the campus saying to people with a smile, "Welcome home, welcome home." And you know, the first couple of times I would see the people's reactions like, "What are you doing?" And then a couple of times later, when they would continue to be welcome, it was like, "Well, thank you, well, thank you, well, thank you." And of course, by the afternoon, people were saying, "We are home." And that was a very sobering experience for me to see how this family, my family, is now grabbed onto that vision of this is our home.
It's got to be satisfying, too, that they have bought into your vision.
It's our vision. You know, a vision is not a vision unless it's embraced by others, unless it's taken over and become theirs. And that's what I saw this weekend, because as I said, I didn't know the t-shirt said, "Welcome home." And I walked out and it was, oh, how wonderful. So it is rewarding to see this university coming together as a family and how they have come together as a family. And that's one of the things that make us unique, you know, that at Fort Hays State University, we're a family.
Now, the future, fall convocation, August 12th, the state of the university, if you will, to faculty and staff members. And the admission, once again this year, was a non-perishable food item for the
Yes.
Tiger Food Exchange, something that you have really championed in your time here.
Yes, that's really important. You know, one of the surprises, and we've discussed this, that I had coming to Kansas is that, especially coming from the East, you perceive Kansas to be the breadbasket of America. And how could there be hunger in the breadbasket of America? But there is. You know, and it's not just our students. We have staff, we have even faculty that it's difficult for them to make ends meet. And so this food pantry last year, I remember visiting it during the summer and it was pretty empty. And so we made that the new tradition at Fort Hays State University last year. The admissions to convocation was at least one non-perishable food item. And so we continued that tradition this year. There's a lot of hunger that's still going on. And if we can help someone that is less fortunate. For me, that's part of who we are here, and it's part of being a family, and it's
That's
part
what
of being
family
home.
does, isn't
That's
it?
right. Family look after each other, and if this is our home, we look after our family. So I'm very thankful because staff and faculty came out, and they were again very, very generous. So I'm very thankful for all of those who participated. But you know, as I say to everybody, that's not just a one-time event. There's still a pantry, and it still has needs. So whenever you think about it and you're at the grocery store, pick up an extra item and just deliver it there when you go.
And that's good for clubs, organizations, churches, and all kinds
Everybody.
of groups who can support
Yes, sir,
the Tiger
absolutely.
Food Pantry. Your message during convocation, President Martin, recruit, retain, give, and a shift from the culture of access to a culture of completion. Talk about that.
Well, we certainly embrace everyone at Fort Hays State University that wants to make the sacrifice of go and receive an education. And it is a sacrifice. It's an opportunity cost, but it's certainly the great equalizer. And our mission of being an accessible destination of choice for all who seek an education will always continue. But the issue of access is one of not just bringing people here. We need to retain them. And so the message of shifting our emphasis, we're getting them here, but now we need to shift our emphasis to retaining them, to ensuring that they complete their dream, that they walk across that stage. That is an area that is plaguing America, not just Fort Hays, not just Kansas, but America, that an awful lot of students go to school, but they don't walk across the finish line 4 years later, 5 years later, 6 years later. And if we are going to ensure an educated citizenry, which is the dream of our forefathers, then we need to take that very, very seriously. And at Fort Hays State University, we're taking it very seriously. We will continue to be the beacon of hope on the plains, that lighthouse on the plain, for all who seek an education. But we are also now making sure that we take very prescribed and very methodical steps to ensure that when those bright minds get to our home, that 4 years later, 5 years later, 6 years later, that they complete that dream, that they graduate.
And there are a lot of components of that goal, aren't there?
Absolutely. You know, it's involvement of the faculty, it's involvement of the staff. I said to the faculty and the staff at convocation, if you see somebody that's distraught, stop, say hello. If a student doesn't show up to class, don't write him off. Pick up the phone, write him an email, send him a text and say, Mike, why were you not in class? How can I help? You know, give them a hug when you see them on a campus and they're down. Say, how can I help you today? It's a culture of engagement, you know, and I talked about that being what we needed to do this year and ongoing. This was going to be a year fully becoming immersed, of fully becoming engaged. At any one time of our lives, we need to be father, mother, sister, brothers, and mentors to these kids. We need to be part of their lives, because you don't know whether that random act of kindness that sometimes you don't even think about makes a difference between keeping that kid here, engaged, or having him go back home. But it's also a message to the parents, because you know that the child that leaves the home, I know because I remember taking my daughter to Washington University in St. Louis from the East Coast, and that 22-hour ride back home to Richmond at the time, I cried. You know, it was my firstborn. It was a girl, and I missed her. I know she missed me as well, and I know that, you know, if she had come home, I would have felt like, oh, how wonderful, you're home. But I can tell you that I would have said, after that, even despite that long trip and all those tears, I would have said, love you dearly. It's time for you to go back to college. Mm-hmm. Many of our parents are not doing that. You know, when their child comes back home and says, I'm too homesick, I need to come back home, they say, welcome home. And they should say, welcome home, we love you. But after the weekend is over, they should say, let us take you back to school because that's where you belong. So that culture of engagement, that culture of completion is a culture that has to permeate through the family of Fort Hays State.
There's another area that we wanted to talk about during the fall convocation, and that was the awards, which are presented each year. And there was a new award called Closing the Loop Department that came with a prize. Talk about the Closing the Loop Department.
Well, Voya Financial Services was very kind to be able to provide us with some funding to bring to attention an area that we are going to be accentuating this year. Again, part of that engagement mechanism, part of that completion mechanism, culture shift. Closing the Loop is an award designed to give to a department who takes in data through assessment, through the assessment of their curriculum, okay? And then the closest the loop is, it takes the data, says, okay, what needs to be changed to make that curriculum better, to meet the needs of our students better, to ensure that we are best of class, to ensure that this is a world-class best practice curriculum. So you're taking data, the decisions are evidence-based, but rather than to say, oh gee, that's nice, we did this, or we didn't do this, and put it aside, they say, oh, we didn't do this, or we did this, and now we're going to rework it into our curriculum. We're going to change our syllabus. We're going to bring in something else. So that's what's Close the Loop. And it's designed to reward those individuals who are embracing a culture of scholarship-informed decisions, of evidence-based decision-making. But that is something that we need to do. You know, our accrediting agency certainly looks our ability to make informed decisions, to continuously improve our curriculum. You know, we can't teach the things that were being taught 20 years ago. Life has changed. And so this incentivizes those individuals who have created a culture of continuous improvement, okay? And that's really what a Close the Loop is. It's a culture of continuous improvement in their curriculum, and are engaged and are looking at all that is new in academia and are bringing it back to our students.
During the convocation, also the President's Distinguished Scholar Award was a regular feature of convocation.
That was a really fun award because, you know, Chapman Rockaway, as you know, was the recipient of that award. And during convocation, I was going up and down and visiting with people and saying hello and so on and so forth. And I saw Chap, and I thought, I can't look at him because he knows me too well, and he's going to know something is up. And I knew where he sat. And so when I got up there and I started to talk, and I looked at him and I said, and the Presidential Award is, and his face just, I wish that Jeff had been there with a camera, because his face said it all. Was like, and then for the first time in his life, the gentleman was speechless. You know, and for a political scientist,
what a rare moment.
It is. So it was wonderful. It's a very deserving award. He is a phenomenal faculty member, a phenomenal human being, and I think this award recognizes all of that is, and certainly an incredible researcher, very prolific in his writing, not only in columns that we all read, but also in textbooks. And so very worthy of the award, but it's just not the worth, it's just seeing his face made my year.
And he had no clue.
And
you
he
didn't
had
tip
absolutely
him
no clue.
Kathleen Ward, Associate Professor of Nursing, Faculty Member of the Year.
Yes.
Angela Walters, Associate Professor of Informatics, the Shearer Advisor of the Year Award. Dr. April Park, Assistant Professor of Psychology, the recipient of the Heinrich's Outstanding Undergraduate Research Mentor Awards. Good to see that Dr. Heinrich's was recognized
always remember
in a special award.
Absolutely.
Amanda Ergen, who was the Assistant Director of English as Second Language, the Internationalization of the Campus and Curriculum Award, and 2 service awards, Dr. Eric Denault, Assistant Professor of Applied Technology, and Dr. Fred Britton, Professor of Communication Sciences and Disorders.
These gentlemen, these ladies are really very representative of our community, and we're very pleased and very proud to be able to recognize them. I think that what you will find is that these awards are very difficult because excellence permeates throughout Fort Hays State University. What I talk about all the time is that, as you know, that we are the destination of choice because of our programs of distinction and our people of excellence. These people are people of excellence. Our community are people of excellence. Our staff are people of excellence. Our faculty are people of excellence. And so we're pleased to recognize excellence at a convocation when everybody comes together.
President Mirta Martin, from the President's office on the campus of Fort Hays State University, our Community Connection.
Thank you.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hays and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
There's not any words to describe their kindness.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible. Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
They saved my life.